FCC kids, welcome back. Last week we continued to learn about the Lord's Prayer and we learned about praise in the Lord's Prayer. This week our focus is going to be on the Lord's Prayer again, and it's going to be asking for help in the Lord's Prayer. So we're talking about asking God for help in prayer. So think back today. How many times have you asked for help? I know when I was little, I was shorter, and my brother, Randy, some of you might know him, he's tall. He's 6'7" right now. So whenever I was little, I couldn't reach things, so I would ask him for help. His height would help me. Also, I would ask my teachers for help. If I couldn't solve a problem, I would ask my peers for help. Even as an adult, I always have to ask for help. Today, I've asked several people for help. Actually, Zach, who's filming me, I've asked him for help to film and edit my videos. So asking for help is a normal, everyday part of life. So think about all of these people that are willing to come and help you, and they're humans. Think about if you ask the God of the universe to help you and how much help he can give you if you just ask him. So today we're going to read a story about a time where Jesus' friends asked him for help. And we're going to read it from the Jesus Storybook Bible. And the story is found in Mark 4 and Matthew 8. And it's titled, The Captain of the Storm. The sun was going down. The air was warm and still. Let's go across the lake, Jesus said to his friends. Jesus had been helping people all day, and now he was tired. So he left the crowds at the shore and set out in a small fishing boat. Jesus climbed into the boat to take a nap. As soon as his head hit the pillow, he fell fast asleep. It was a beautiful evening. A gentle breeze rustled in the sails. The friends were chatting happily as they headed out into the middle of the lake. Everything was perfect, just right for a nice, quiet sail. They were only about halfway across when out of nowhere, whirling winds swept across the lake, fierce and strong like a hurricane. A blinding flash of lightning hit up the sky. Thunder roared right overhead. The storms blew the water into towering waves that hurled up the little boat, up, and then sent it hurtling, crashing back down, down. The fishing boat was blown and buffed, tossed and turned, back and forth, up and down, left and right, and round. And in the middle of the storm, Jesus was sleeping. Now, Jesus' friends had been fishermen all their lives, but in all their years of fishing on this lake, they have never once seen a storm like this. No matter how hard they struggled with their ropes and their sails, they couldn't control their boat. This storm was too big for them. But the storm wasn't big enough for Jesus. "Help!" they screamed. "Wake up, Jesus!" Jesus opened his eyes. "Rescue us! Save us!" they shrieked. "Don't you care?" Of course Jesus cared. And there was the very reason he had to come, to rescue them and save them. Jesus stood up and spoke to the storm. "Hush," he said. That's all, and the strangest things happened. The wind and the waves recognized Jesus' voice. They had heard it before, of course, and it was the same voice that had made them in the very beginning. They listened to Jesus, and they did what he said. Immediately the wind stopped, the water calmed down. It glittered innocently in the moonlight, and it leaped quietly across the side of the boat as if nothing had happened. The little boat bobbed gently up and down. There was a deep stillness and a great quiet all around. Then Jesus turned to his wind-torn friends. "Why were you so scared?" he asked. "Did you forget who I am? Did you believe your fears instead of me?" Jesus' friends were quiet as the wind and the waves. And into their hearts came a different kind of storm. "What kind of man is this?" they asked themselves anxiously. "Even the winds and the waves obey him." They said because they didn't understand. They didn't realize that Jesus was the Son of God. Jesus' friends had been so afraid that they had only seen the big waves. They had forgotten that if Jesus was with them, they had nothing to be afraid of, no matter how small their boat or how big the storm was. The end. Today we're going to make a helping hands wreath. And here's what it's going to look like. So here's the supplies you'll need for today's craft. A pair of scissors. Be careful when you gather those. A writing utensil. A glue stick or glue bottle. And 3 pieces of paper. It does not have to be a certain color, but just make sure you have 3 of them. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to take your marker or your writing utensil. You're going to take your piece of paper, spread out your fingers, and lay it on your piece of paper. And you're going to trace each finger in your handprint. Just like that. Then on the same piece of paper, you're going to take your other hand and lay it down, spread out your fingers, and trace that hand. And this is how it will look. You're going to do that again on your second sheet of paper. Same thing, take your hand, spread out your fingers, and trace it. Take the opposite hand, do the same thing. There's my second piece. Then on your last sheet, you're going to do the same thing. Make sure you're spreading out your fingers. Opposite hand. And all of your pieces of paper will have both of your handprints on them. Next thing you're going to do, take your scissors, be careful, and you're going to cut out your handprints. So now you've got all 6 of your hands cut out. So what we're going to do, I am taking the side that the marker is on, where I had to kind of cut around it, and I'm going to lay that down to where you can't see it. And I want you guys to write on the palm of the hand, we're going to do 6 things that you would like to help out with around your house. You don't have to write the same ones that I'm going to write, but I think it would be nice for your parents instead of having to them having to come and ask you for help, if you would just pitch in and help them without even asking. So the first one I'm going to write is take out the trash. Next one, do the dishes. Third, fold the laundry. Fourth, clean up your room. You should be doing that on your own anyway. Fifth, vacuum. Last hand, clean the windows. And if you want to go crazy, clean the toilet. Parents will love that one. Okay, so now I sorted my hands in my left hand and right hand piles, which might be easier to put them together in the wreath. So what you're going to do first, take one of your hands, take the other one, and you're going to put glue right along the edge here. And you're just going to press the other hand up against it, but to where you can still see the jobs that you're going to do. Then this is where you're going to start from. So you're going to take another hand and you're going to do the same thing, kind of put glue along the edge and kind of put it on top and overlap the hands that you just glued. And it's going to form a circle just like a wreath. You're going to continue doing that until you get all of your hands on your wreath. Last hand. The last hand, you may want to do it on the bottom of your palm where you put it, because that's kind of going to hold it all together. You might have to move it to where you can see all the words. And here is your helping hands wreath. And anytime you want to help your parents out, you just tell them you're going to do something on your helping hands wreath. Today's Bible point is that asking is a part of prayer. So the takeaway is that when we pray, we ask God for help, because all of these humans around you are willing to help you. So think about how much more help you'll receive when you ask God for help and when you talk to Him. Thanks for joining me again this week, guys. Have a wonderful week.